Can you write down a name, and we won't say it on the air, but just
promise.
for our own personal interest?
Like I'm going to trust you.
No, honest to God, we've done this before. We will not mention it on the air. We won't say any clues.
I promise you. I'm just gonna play right now up to the point where she writes it down in our first reaction. I'm gonna go to words. I got the email to read. She writes down Donald Trump. Oh, wow. And you can tell it's him because listen to how we describe it. Oh, wow. Oh, wow.
Let me see.
We're gonna hand it around.
Oh,
Come on,
wow.
pass it around.
Hey, hold on. Everybody be careful on this. And so now, man, said, I know it's Donald Trump, and I'm like, be careful. This isn't Vince Neil or Tommy Lee or David Lee Roth. This is a guy that's, litigious and got money.
Yep. On this one.
Do not say a word.
No, we're not.
Cheryl, I promise you, nobody's going to say a word. Cheryl was the handler. I'll dump anybody that says a word. This is unbelievable. Bubba, wait till you see this. Brett handed it to you, then you hand it Bubba. I asked her what city it is. And we've now since found out, and it's validated, and it's within the documentation. It happened at Lake Tahoe in Nevada.
Yep.
That's where this happened. Can you tell us what city? Was it New York?
No.
L.A.?
No.
Florida?
No.
Vegas.
Is that the star?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Stormy, with the first one. So Bubba Smart says this, as in Donald Trump the star? Yeah. What state?
Nevada, but not Vegas.
Reno, probably. Or where do they ski? Reno. Lake Tahoe. Lake Tahoe, there it was. You know we're being very vague here. Has that person contacted you since then?
About twice a month.
And do you follow them twice a month?
No.
Would you, if given the opportunity again?
I might.
Mm-hmm. As much as this Donald Trump hooking up with Stormy's with $130,000 payoff, and just the crap storm that has resurfaced. Now, I had Stormy on my show, and I'm only reiterating what this news story says. And so I probably should just be quiet, not speak anything additional, and let this story tell the story, because it does a pretty good job. And if you read the story after the video portion of it, it even breaks it down further. Now, this story was in March of 2018. This didn't really start hitting her 60 Minutes appearance was in September of 2018. My ability to talk about it changed right before her 60 Minutes appearance.
Warning the president and the public in a tweet that it's, quote, time to buckle up after President Trump's lawyer.
By the way, Michael Avenatti spending, I think, at least 14 years in federal prison on this real she-fed prison deal. And by the way, he still has his Twitter account. He didn't get his taken away, and he's in federal prison. We got ours taken away, and we're free as can be, at least for now. So he's in federal prison right now.
Refused to respond to a deadline set for a settlement offer the porn star proposed on Monday. Daniels said she'd pay back $130,000 in hush money Mr. Trump's lawyer paid to her to keep quiet about an alleged sexual affair she had with Donald Trump back in 2006. In exchange, Daniels' lawyer said she'd be free to talk, as well as to share text messages, photos, and videos she may have related to the president.
Did you have a relationship with...
Sources tell CNN confidants of the president are encouraging him not to respond or to fight Daniels' attempts to break the agreement for fear anything he says could make him look guilty. It may be too late, as more evidence is emerging Daniels had a sexual relationship with Trump after meeting him at a golf tournament in 2006.
So more evidence is coming out,
including an interview Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, gave to a Florida radio personality in May of 2007, months after the alleged affair started. The radio host mentions the interview in a recent show, explaining how he asked Daniels to write down the names of the famous people with whom she had sex.
Can you write down a name, and we won't say it on the air, but just for our own.
She writes down Donald Trump. And you can tell it's him because listen to how we describe it.
Let me see.
We're gonna hand it around. Come on, pass it around. Hey, hold on. Everybody be careful on this. And so now, man, said, I know it's Donald Trump, and I'm like, be careful. This isn't Vince Neil or Tommy Lee or David Lee Roth. This is a guy that's, litigious and got money.
Michael Avenatti, Daniels' new lawyer, seems ready to litigate as well. He has filed a request to change.
So and if you go into the article, it says Stephanie Clifford, a porn star known as Stormy Daniels, discussed her alleged affair with Donald Trump during a May 2007 radio appearance with well-known Florida radio personality, told his listeners on Friday. Bubba the Love Sponge Clem, known as Todd Clem before he legally changed his name in 1999, played portions of the interview on his radio show Friday and Monday, in which Daniels was asked to write down the names of famous people that she slept with. Clem says the first name of that list was Donald Trump. Although neither Daniels nor the host says Donald Trump's name in the 07 article, she can be heard describing key details that match the description of the alleged affair with Donald Trump. Clem said on his nationally syndicated radio program that Daniels was talking about Trump and later verified the information to CNN. CNN independently corroborated the story with another person who was in Clem's studio that day who would speak only on the condition of being anonymous. So they either had to get a hold of Bubba Sparks, Brent, or Spice Boy, which I'm sure they got a hold of. I would say probably Bubba Sparks. The person who said Donald Trump's name was the first on Daniels' list. This would be the earliest. Here's something that's pretty cool. This would be the earliest known existence of Daniels publicly discussing this alleged affair. CNN attained a full recording of Daniels' May 16th, 2017 appearance, which matches the clips Clem played on the air Friday. Michael Avenatti, a lawyer for Daniels, declined to comment and said Daniels would not be commenting. A spokesperson for the White blah, 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 blah. Clem told his listeners in January that he had removed the appearance from his archives, the website Bubba Army Radio, because he didn't want any unwanted attention in advance to his upcoming federal court case, which I had a big federal court case at that point. And I didn't want the jurors, Dan, to be subjected to me being on the air. Because, had I commented on it, they would have done a big CNN article on me, and I didn't need that. This was right before I was going to trial federally for the Nielsen deal. I didn't want the jurors to have that impression of me.
Jay's here.
Right.
Oh, Jay's here. Is he on wireless? And I think
That should work.
I think Blitz fixed it.
How's it working?
Oh, it sounds
sounds beautiful.
Blitz in the soldering glasses got it taken care of. So now, Jay, I want to reassure you that this is from March of 2018. I didn't, enter into any agreement until September of 2018. Clem declined to be interviewed for the story, citing a pending civil matter, but provided CNN with a statement. This interview happened in May of 07. I only asked the questions. Stormy answered them. I wish her and our president nothing but the very best. I don't think this is that big of a deal. We need to stop worrying about the past and focus on the future. President Trump is our president, regardless of who he slept with 12 years ago. The media and the haters need to get over it. I think that was a pretty good statement.
Brilliant.
Right.
Bubba, that is perfect. You
Yeah.
summed it up perfectly.
In the clips Clem played in 07, in the 07 episode, Daniels can be heard describing an affair that she had with a wealthy man that took place in Nevada less than a year before her radio appearance. The details match those with the lawsuit filed by Daniels earlier this week. In the lawsuit, Daniels alleged that she had an intimate relationship with Donald Trump in September of 06 in Lake Tahoe and continued her relationship well into the year of 07. Can you write down a name, and we won't say it on the air, for our own personal reasons, and an unidentified co-host, not Clem, says to Daniels in 07, we've done this before. We won't mention it on the air. We won't give any clues. When the name is shown, the host can be heard saying, no way, wow. An assistant of Daniels, identified by the name of Cheryl, can be heard verifying that did happen. Be careful of this one. Don't say a word, Clem said. Cautioning Daniels and his co-host not to speak the man's name. Probably one of the smartest things I ever did.
Yes.
The whole thing. You're brilliant.
Daniels, when asked about how long the affair took place, she said it lasted less than a year. Later in the show, Clem plays short clips of Daniels responding to questions over the alleged affair. Daniels said that the tryst, is it tryst?
Yes.
The tryst took place in Nevada, but not Vegas. At the prodding of the radio host, she said it was Lake Tahoe, which is where Daniels first encountered Trump at the celebrity golf tournament in 2006. She said she found it horribly embarrassing that this person was the best in bed of the 3 people on her list, and added that the person contacted her twice a month. She later added that there was no money exchanged. There was no exchange of money, she said. I'm sure if he had felt the need to graciously help me, he would have put it in my purse. So it's not a wonder, Dan, Jay, in the midst of what we're going through right now with regards to this particular issue, that I've not been asked to testify or to speak nonetheless. And I don't know that I would have the ability to. And the only reason I can speak about it now is because it's part of a news story that was, before whatever. So, I don't know. I mean,
well, you could talk about it in a legal proceeding sometimes.
Yes, most of the time, those agreements are subject to court's interpretation and scrutiny. As you know, everything's confidential until it's not. Until a judge says
everything's
it's not.
Confidential until the FBI gets involved.
That's right. Then nothing's confidential. Right. So, you're talking about something that happened on air. You're not actually saying anything new about it. You're just playing. You're regurgitating a story.
Right.
And
a story.
I think in this point, the reason you're not being called is the media is assuming it happened.
Yeah,
because if it didn't happen, then the hush payments there's no purpose of having hush payments.
But isn't that one of Trump's defenses, is that it didn't happen?
Correct, because Stormy Daniels signed an affidavit under oath, I think in 2016. Is that right, Lummy?
I think it was after that, after 2016. It wasn't 17, I think?
It may have been 16 or 17. So, he's taken the position, A, it didn't happen. B, she's under a non-disclosure agreement, which they're calling a hush payment agreement, which is just every release I've ever been a part of for the last 27 years has a confidentiality provision. Almost 99% of them. It's not a hush payment. It's called a settlement agreement, confidential settlement agreement. So I don't think there's really anything interesting about this other than, what you say happened. We believe it happened, or what she said. And everyone's assuming that to be true, or the prosecution would be baseless.
I mean, I only asked questions.
That's right.
She answered them.
Trump is taking the position, A, it didn't happen, and B, that this is an extortion payment. It's not a hush payment. And that it came from personal funds, business funds, not campaign funds, unlike the John Edwards one, where, he had a love child and $1 million of donor money was used to conceal a relationship that had been going on for years, and they determined it wasn't done to try to help his presidential campaign, which he was about to enter into, to save his marriage, which is what everyone believes. If you're caught in this type of a thing, regardless of whether you're in a campaign, most people, male or female, would do anything to save their relationship and their marriage, regardless of a campaign.
So it's going to, do you think, Jay? I think that if they were going to call me, they would have already called me.
I agree with that.
But, maybe they didn't know about this. I don't know.
Did they call Stormy Daniels to the grand jury?
Oh, yeah. She was her and Michael Cohen, and oddly enough, Keith Davidson.
That's the part that blows me away.
Oh, I know. I know that Keith Davidson is the one that brokered all of this deal. Let's not forget this. Keith Davidson was Stormy Daniels' very first attorney until she fired him and hired Avenatti.
Bad decision.
But what I'm saying is,
I know.
How does that guy, how is he walking the streets? It's totally mind-blowing as to who they pick and choose, as to who gets in trouble and who doesn't get in trouble.
People with information don't get in trouble.
The Bubba Radio Network will return after this.